Good morning/afternoon, friends. A new year, a new opportunity, but with all the newness comes the same old challenge. How do we protect ourselves in a world that constantly invites us to share everything? How do we balance being open and authentic with the need for boundaries? In today's world, the word boundaries can sometimes feel restrictive, like something that limits us. But in reality, boundaries are not walls that keep us out from others. They're the gates that protect what's most valuable inside. When we set boundaries, we are creating a space where we can thrive and where our mental, emotional, and spiritual health can flourish. It's easy to think that being open and accessible to everyone at all times is the ultimate form of connection. We live in a world where we are constantly encouraged to give and give, to be available at every moment, to respond to every message, to be present in every situation. But what we often forget is that when we constantly say yes to everyone else, we are often saying no to ourselves. We end up depleting our energy, our peace, and our sense of purpose. Boundaries, on the other hand, empower us to say yes to the things that matter most. They give us the ability to protect our time, our energy, and our emotional health. When we establish boundaries, we are not only taking care of ourselves, but we are also creating space for the things we truly value to thrive. Our relationships, our goals, our creativity, and our well-being. Boundaries are a declaration of self-respect. They're a reminder that we are worthy of space, of rest, of focus, and of peace. When we draw those lines in the sand, we're not being selfish, we're being wise. We are saying, I am important. My needs are valid. My time is valuable. And when we do this, we start to take control of our lives in ways we never thought possible. It's not about shutting people out or refusing to help others, but it is about understanding that if we don't guard what is precious to us, we won't have anything left to give. Boundaries are not walls to keep people away. They are invitations for others to engage with us in healthier, more respectful ways. They create mutual respect. And in doing so, they actually deepen relationships rather than diminish them. And let's not forget, boundaries are not a one-time decision. They are fluid and they evolve as we do. What might have been a healthy boundary in one season of life may shift as circumstances change. But the key is this: boundaries are about protecting what matters most to you, and that's a deeply empowering choice. In a world that never stops talking, silence has become an almost foreign concept. We are constantly surrounded by noise, whether it's the hum of technology, the constant chatter on social media, or the pressure to be always on. Yet in the midst of all this noise, silence has a power that many of us overlook. The power of silence is not about isolation or withdrawal. It's about reclaiming control over our minds, our emotions, and our lives. Silence is not empty. It is full of possibility. When we choose to remain silent, we create space for clarity and reflection. In silence, we disconnect from the distractions and noise that cloud our judgment, allowing us to hear the subtle whispers of our own hearts. It's in those quiet moments that we can discern what's truly important and tap into a deeper wisdom that often gets drowned out by the loudness of the world around us. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, silence becomes an act of resistance. It's a powerful way to assert control over our energy and our attention. The constant pressure to respond immediately, to have an opinion, to be involved in every conversation can be overwhelming. Silence, however, gives us the opportunity to pause, to reflect, and to choose when and how we engage. It's about being intentional with our words and actions rather than reacting impulsively to every situation. One of the greatest gifts of silence is that it gives us space to listen. Listening is not just about hearing words, it's about truly understanding. When we stop speaking and start listening, we create deeper connections with others. We begin to hear not only what people are saying, but also what they're not saying. Silence invites us to listen with our hearts, to pick up on the nuances and emotions behind the words. In a conversation, silence can be just as powerful as speech, as it shows respect and understanding for what the other person is sharing. Silence also allows us to reconnect with our inner selves. In the busyness of life, it's easy to lose touch with who we truly are. We get caught up in the expectations of others, the demands of our jobs, and the endless pursuit of success. Silence provides an opportunity for self-reflection. It's in the quiet that we can check in with our emotions, our values, and our goals. It's in silence that we can reconnect with the deepest parts of ourselves and remember what truly matters. Furthermore, silence is a powerful tool for healing. Emotional wounds and trauma often require space to heal, and silence offers that space. We live in a culture that sometimes demands that we move on quickly from our pain, but silence gives us the time to sit with it, to process it, and to finally, silence helps us to live more intentionally. In the absence of constant noise, we are free to focus on what truly matters. We can choose how to spend our time and energy and make decisions that align with our values and goals. Silence allows us to step back from the chaos of life and see things from a different perspective. It's in the stillness that we gain clarity, find direction, and remember who we are and what we stand for. In a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming, emotional protection is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Our emotions are at the core of who we are, and they shape how we experience the world, how we interact with others, and how we navigate the highs and lows of life. Yet, in today's fast-pacing, high-pressure culture, we are often left vulnerable to emotional harm. Whether it's from the opinions of others, unexpected challenges, or even the constant bombardment of negative news, protecting our emotional well-being is more important than ever. Emotional protection starts with understanding that our feelings are sacred. They are a reflection of our inner world, our values, our needs, and our deepest desires. When we fail to protect our emotions, we allow others to dictate how we feel, how we think, and how we respond to life's challenges. We give away our power. Protecting our emotions is about reclaiming that power, about choosing to guard our hearts and minds with intentionality and wisdom. One of the first steps in emotional protection is setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are guidelines that teach others how to treat us. When we create and enforce boundaries, we protect our emotional space from being overrun by negativity, judgment, and harmful behaviors. For example, saying no to toxic relationships or disengaging from conversations that leave us feeling drained are acts of emotional protection. Boundaries are a way of saying, I value myself enough to protect my peace. The importance of emotional protection also lies in how we deal with criticism and negativity. In today's world, criticism is often instantaneous, public, and harsh. It's easy to internalize negative comments or to let the judgments of others define our worth. However, emotional protection involves building resilience against external negativity. It's about developing the strength to hear criticism without allowing it to pierce your spirit. Emotional protection requires us to have a solid sense of self, knowing who we are and whose we are, so that the opinions of others do not dictate our emotional state. Another crucial aspect of emotional protection is learning how to manage our emotional energy. We all have a finite amount of emotional resources each day. And if we are constantly giving that energy away without replenishing it, we risk emotional burnout. Protecting your emotions means being mindful of how you invest your emotional energy. Are you giving it to people and situations that uplift and support you? Or are you constantly pouring out to others, leaving yourself empty? The power of emotional protection lies in being intentional about where and how you spend your emotional energy. Self-care is also an essential part of emotional protection. Often we put others' needs above our own, neglecting our own emotional health in the process. But self-care isn't selfish. It's necessary. Taking time to recharge, to reflect, and to nurture our emotional needs helps us build resilience and equips us to handle life's inevitable challenges. Whether it's through journaling, meditating, exercising, or simply taking a moment to breathe, self-care allows us to restore balance and protect our emotional well-being. Lastly, emotional protection involves healing from past wounds. We all carry emotional scars from previous experiences, whether from relationships, failures, or trauma. Protecting our emotions means taking the time to heal these wounds, not ignoring them or pretending they don't exist. It's about acknowledging our pain, seeking support when needed, and allowing ourselves the space to grow beyond it. True emotional protection doesn't mean avoiding pain. It means dealing with it in a healthy way so that it doesn't continue to harm us. By practicing emotional protection, we are not only safeguarding our well-being, but we are also creating a stronger, more resilient version of ourselves. It's about honoring our feelings, protecting our inner peace, and investing in our emotional health so that we can show up fully for ourselves and for others. Emotional protection is an act of self-love, a reminder that we deserve to live in a space where our hearts and minds are respected and cared for. In the digital age, oversharing has become almost normalized. Social media platforms, blogs, and forums all encourage us to share more, to be open, and to reveal the details of our lives for the world to see. While the intention may often be to connect or seek validation, the dangers of oversharing are significant and can have lasting consequences on our emotional health, relationships, and even our personal security. One of the most obvious dangers of oversharing is the erosion of privacy. In an era where nearly everything we say or do can be recorded, shared, and permanently stored, the line between public and private life has blurred. Every status update, photo, or tweet can be out there forever. Once shared, we have little control over where it goes, who sees it, and how it is used. In some cases, oversharing can lead to unwanted attention or even harassment. The constant sharing of personal details can also leave us feeling exposed. making it difficult to maintain any sense of personal space or security. But privacy isn't the only thing at risk. Oversharing can also jeopardize our emotional well-being. Constantly seeking validation from others by sharing intimate details of our lives can lead to an unhealthy reliance on external approval. When we post something personal, we often expect a certain response, and when we don't get it, we can feel hurt or rejected. This cycle of sharing for validation can leave us feeling empty as our sense of self-worth becomes tied to the reactions of others. Instead of looking inward for self-giving, we become dependent on the fleeting, often superficial feedback we receive online. Moreover, oversharing can strain our relationships. Relationships are built on trust, respect, and boundaries. When we overshare personal details about our partners, family, or friends, we risk breaching that trust. What we may see as a harmless post or a way to vent can feel like a betrayal to others. Our loved ones may not appreciate their lives being exposed to strangers or the public eye. This can lead to misunderstandings, conflict, and even damage to relationships that were once strong. It's important to remember that while we may feel comfortable sharing our own experiences, those around us may not share the same desire for transparency. In addition, oversharing can have a negative impact on our professional lives. In today's interconnected world, employers and colleagues often have access to social media profiles and personal content. What we share online can shape the way we are perceived, both positively and negatively. Posting too much about personal struggles, conflicts, or controversial opinions can undermine our professional image. It's important to be mindful of how we present ourselves, especially when it comes to sensitive topics that could be misinterpreted or used against us in a work environment. Another danger of oversharing is the potential for misinformation or misunderstanding. In an era where misinformation spreads quickly, sharing without thinking can result in the dissemination of false or incomplete information. Once a message is out there, it can take on a life of its own. Whether it's an opinion shared in the heat of the moment or an emotional reaction to an event, the words we speak or write can be taken out of context and spread in ways we never intended. This can lead to regret, confusion, and even damage to our reputations. Finally, oversharing can dilute the authenticity of our experiences. When we share every detail of our lives online, we risk losing the value of certain moments. Some of the most meaningful experiences are the ones we keep to ourselves or share only with those closest to us. When we constantly seek to capture and share every moment, we may miss out on fully experiencing it in the present. The need to post, comment, or update can distract us from living in the moment and appreciating life for what it truly is. In an increasingly connected world, it's important to recognize the potential dangers of oversharing. While it's natural to want to connect and share our experiences, we must also be mindful of the impact it can have on our privacy, relationships, emotional health, and reputation. By setting healthy boundaries and being intentional about what we share, we can protect ourselves and cultivate more meaningful, genuine connections. In an age where information flows freely and personal details are constantly shared, the concept of privacy often gets overlooked or valued. Yet privacy is not just about being secret or avoiding public eye. It is a form of wisdom. Choosing what to share and what to keep to ourselves requires discernment, maturity, the understanding that some aspects of our lives are too sacred to be exposed to the world. It's a conscious decision to guard the most intimate parts of our identity, knowing that the act of protecting our privacy can enhance the quality of our lives and deepen our sense of self. At its core, privacy is an expression of self-respect. It is an acknowledgement that not everything about us needs to be shared, and that our personal experiences, emotions, and thoughts deserve protection from unnecessary intrusion. In a world where it often feels like we're expected to be open about every aspect of our lives, whether it's on social media, in personal relationships, or at work, the choice to keep certain things private demonstrates a deep understanding of the need for boundaries. It is a recognition that there is wisdom in withholding information, not out of fear or shame, but out of a desire to preserve our inner peace and autonomy. Privacy also provides space for self-reflection and growth. When we keep certain parts of our lives to ourselves, we create an environment where we can process our experiences without the pressure of external opinions. In the quiet, unshared moments, we have the freedom to think critically, to reflect, and to make decisions that align with our true selves. By maintaining privacy, we're not only protecting our personal boundaries, but we're also giving ourselves the time and space necessary to grow, to evolve, and to understand who we truly are without the influence of others' expectations or judgments. Moreover, privacy cultivates emotional intelligence. Not everything we feel needs to be expressed, and not every thought needs to be voiced. Wisdom lies in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. When we keep our feelings and reactions private, we allow ourselves to fully process them before acting. This delay gives us the opportunity to understand our emotions more deeply, to choose a measured response, and to avoid making rash decisions that we might regret later. By protecting our emotional space, we create a filter through which our thoughts and feelings are processed in a thoughtful, intentional way. In relationships, privacy is not about secrecy, but about mutual respect. Each person has their own internal world, their own private thoughts and experiences, and respecting that autonomy is vital for the health of any relationship. Privacy allows us to maintain a sense of individuality, even within close connections, and helps prevent the overexposure that can lead to dependency or imbalance. Sharing too much too soon can overwhelm others and blur the boundaries that are necessary for healthy interactions. When we respect privacy in our relationships, we also create an atmosphere of trust and understanding where both parties feel safe, valued, and respected. There is also an element of wisdom in privacy in the context of protecting one's peace. The constant barrage of information and demands in the modern world can be overwhelming. Privacy acts as a shield, allowing us to retreat when necessary and protect our mental and emotional well-being. In a society that thrives on visibility and constant connection, the ability to step back, to take a break from the noise, is an act of wisdom. It allows us to recharge, to reflect, and to return to the world with a renewed sense of clarity and focus. Lastly, privacy is a form of self-discipline. It requires a level of control over our impulses to share and expose. In an era of instant communication and constant validation, privacy is a deliberate choice to slow down and think carefully about what is worth sharing. It reflects maturity and the ability to discern what should be made public and what should remain private. This discipline is not about hiding parts of ourselves out of shame or insecurity, but about recognizing that some things are simply too precious to be given away too easily. It is a commitment to honoring our own story and choosing to reveal only what is most meaningful at the right time and with the right people. The digital age has transformed the way we connect, communicate, and share our lives with others. With a few clicks, we can access information, express opinions, and form relationships with people across the globe. Yet, as the lines between our digital and personal lives blur, maintaining personal integrity has become more challenging than ever. Integrity, the adherence to moral and ethical principles, is no longer just something that defines who we are in person. It must also define how we navigate the vast digital world. One of the greatest challenges of maintaining personal integrity in the digital age is the temptation to present a curated, idealized version of ourselves online. Social media platforms in particular encourage us to highlight only the best aspects of our lives, our achievements, our travels, our successes. While there's nothing wrong with sharing positive moments, the pressure to showcase a perfect life can lead us to sacrifice authenticity for approval. The pursuit of likes, comments, and followers can sometimes overshadow our commitment to honesty, creating a dissonance between who we truly are and how we present ourselves online. In this space, personal integrity means resisting the urge to create a persona that doesn't reflect our true selves and instead embracing vulnerability and authenticity. Another aspect of integrity in the digital age is the responsibility we carry when interacting with others. Online communication can be impersonal, and it's easy to forget that the person on the other side of the screen is a real human being with their own thoughts, emotions, and struggles. This anonymity often gives people the courage to say things they would never say face to face. Harsh criticisms, offensive jokes, or even outright bullying. Personal integrity in this context means treating others with respect and kindness, regardless of the medium of communication. It's about ensuring that our words, whether posted in a comment section or shared in a private message, align with the values we hold in the physical world. Integrity requires us to think carefully about the impact our digital words and actions might have on others, choosing empathy and understanding over impulsive reactions. The digital age also presents ethical challenges when it comes to information sharing. With so much information at our fingertips, it's easy to share things without fully understanding their context or verifying their accuracy. The rise of misinformation and fake news has made it more important than ever to approach the digital world with discernment. Personal integrity involves taking responsibility for what we share online, ensuring that the information we circulate is truthful, well-researched, and presented with integrity. It's about being aware of the power we have as individuals to shape narratives and opinions, and using that power wisely to uphold honesty and transparency. Additionally, in a world where privacy is becoming increasingly scarce, integrity in the digital age also means safeguarding our own personal information. With the constant exchange of data, it's easy to forget that our digital lives are often being tracked, sold, and used in ways we might not fully understand. Personal integrity involves being mindful of what we share, with whom, and how much we expose. It means setting boundaries when it comes to our personal data and choosing to protect our privacy in an era that encourages constant disclosure. By being intentional about the information we share online, we maintain not only our own integrity, but also our sense of control and autonomy in an increasingly surveilled world. Finally, personal integrity in the digital age requires consistency. Our actions online should mirror the principles we uphold in our offline lives. It's easy to compartmentalize our digital identity from our real-world identity. But true integrity means living with a sense of coherence between the two. If we value honesty, kindness, and fairness in our everyday interactions, those values should be evident in how we behave online. Consistency builds trust, and in a world where digital footprints are permanent and ever-growing, maintaining integrity in all spheres of our lives ensures that we are remembered for who we truly are. In this digital landscape, personal integrity is not just about avoiding wrongdoing or staying true to our values. It's about actively making choices that honor both our own moral compass and the well-being of others. It is an ongoing practice, one that requires reflection, self-discipline, and a commitment to truthfulness, kindness, and respect. As our digital lives continue to intertwine with our physical ones, integrity becomes the anchor that keeps us grounded in a world that can sometimes feel uncertain and fragmented.